The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Even on a day where the Jets don't play, they are still making headlines. We have an old-fashioned source-off between Jordan Schultz and The Athletic. We'll talk about that and much more. Oh, baby, it's the Jake Asman Show, and guess what? It starts right now. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show. Here we go, Jet fans. Welcome in, everybody. Before we get started, if you're watching this before 4 p.m. Eastern time here on Sunday, November 24th, flip on the radio from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. today. I'll be on ESPN New York for 4 hours. Former Jet Mike DeVito will join me at 5:30 Eastern time. He wants Rex to coach the Jets again, so we'll talk to DeVito about why he thinks Rex would be a good fit, and we'll talk much more Jets, Giants, the whole thing as the games are about to start coming up here in a few minutes. I had to do a show this morning because there's so much Jet news out there. I'll talk about what Ian Rappaport reported about Aaron Rodgers and his future in a moment, but I want to start with an old-fashioned source-off between Jordan Schultz of Fox Sports and Diana Rossini and Zach Rosenblatt of The Athletic. So Rossini's story was that Woody Johnson has already decided they're moving on from Aaron Rodgers and that Aaron Rodgers wants to play next year, but not for the Jets. And then this morning, Jordan Schultz says, not so fast. Quote, sources, the narrative of a fractured relationship between Aaron Rodgers and Jets owner Woody Johnson is overblown. In fact, the two enjoyed dinner in New York City just a couple of weeks ago. There's been an ongoing communication between them, and both agree the season has been deeply disappointing with Aaron playing through injuries and the team underperforming. So it really comes down to this. Who do you believe? And I'll tell you what, usually there's three sides to every story. In this case, it's the Athletic side, it's the Jordan Schultz side, and somewhere in the middle lies the truth. That's how I would view this. Look, I think the bottom line is this. Aaron Rodgers' future, the idea that it's already been decided, I've said to you guys now all week since this first Athletic story came out, I don't necessarily buy that. I think it's unlikely, but what if Aaron Rodgers does play well down the stretch? There's 6 games to go. What if he all of a sudden over the bye week got healthy? His leg is healed and he plays well. You mean to tell me if he looks good down the stretch, there's no scenario where a new GM and coach coming in will look at their options at quarterback and go, for at least one more year, Rodgers is our best bet. We think we could compete for a playoff spot next year if we fix the defense, get a real kicker, coach this team up, and then we still draft a quarterback that doesn't have to play right away. It's impossible for that scenario to exist. The Athletic makes it seem like there's no chance that happens, and this story from Fox Sports pushes back on that. And what I never understood about the Athletic story, just looking at it objectively, so you have Woody Johnson coming out after that Bronco loss saying, maybe we should bench Aaron Rodgers. But then 2 weeks later, he spends money and a third-round pick with the team at 2-4 and trades for Rodgers' best friend and brings in Devontae Adams. How does that make any sense? So I never really bought that. And when we had Rich Cimini on the show earlier this week, he said his interpretation of that meeting after the Broncos game was Woody just testing them? Was he suggesting that because he saw Rodgers was clearly banged up that game? Would it make sense to start Tyrod for Rodgers to get healthy? Right? So there's just so much we don't know. And the media just runs with these storylines. And the reality is we don't know what's true and what's not true. And I'm not disputing the Athletic having sources here, like people telling them what the deal is. But you also got to consider, where are these sources coming from, right? Which side would want that out there? Well, it reads like it's a hit piece against Woody Johnson. Well, that means disgruntled people who've been fired by Woody Johnson are talking. That means you're probably getting stuff from the Saleh side, from the Douglas side, and they could say, oh, well, when asked for comment, Joe Douglas didn't say anything. That doesn't mean his agent didn't talk on his behalf. That's how this works. You want to know who some of the sources are? Agents talk more than anybody in this business. How do I know that? I'm in the business. Trust me. And it's very easy to find disgruntled employees when you talk to people after they've just been fired. And this is not just in football or in sports. This is in any form of life, any job. You want to get a negative source? Talk to someone who's just been fired. They're not going to have glowing things to say about their boss. That's how this works. So it's funny. You read the story here from Schultz, and it completely pushes back on The Athletic. So you basically have an old-fashioned source off, which I just laugh at. Because you know what? If you can't laugh at just how big of a bleep show this season has become, you might cry. And maybe I did cry this morning. And then I said, you know what? I'm still going to do the show anyway. I mean, it's hilarious. But look, the other story that came out today, kind of backing up what I've been saying now, is that Ian Rappaport says that Aaron Rodgers' future has not been decided. He wrote this morning, quote, "There's been no firm and final decision, but sources with knowledge of Johnson's thinking say Rodgers must play far better down the stretch for the opportunity to return in 2025. And that's what I've been saying. Look, it's unlikely, right? I mean, I understand that there's still 6 games left, and I guess anything can happen. But the idea that Aaron Rodgers couldn't get healthy over the bye and play well down the stretch, I mean, are we sure? I wouldn't bet on it, but are we sure? Like the amount of twists and turns the season has already taken, are we sure? There's no way he's here next year? So Ian's saying it, and I believe Ian Rappaport, because him and Schefter, to me, are the top insiders. When they say something, it actually carries weight. I don't think a decision has been made just yet. I think it's unlikely Aaron's here, not because he might not be their best option, but because, as I've talked about ad nauseum on the show, the salary cap ramifications, as of now, don't justify keeping Aaron Rodgers. Here are the ramifications for those who don't know. If the Jets move on from Rodgers after this year, it's $49 million in dead cap. Now, they could take it all in one, or they could spread it out over 2 years. If they decide, hey, let's bring Aaron back for next year, it's only a $23 million cap hit, which is fine. But then, is it worth a $63 million dead cap charge to either your full 2026 salary cap, or if you spread it out over 2 years, it's $21 million in 26 and $42 million in 2027. So if Aaron's only going to play 1 more year, and you only view him as a, quote, bridge quarterback, does it justify potentially dealing with, instead of $49 million dead cap, $63 million in dead cap, either all in 2026 or spread out over 2 years? Is Aaron Rodgers worth $42 million in dead cap in 2027, which would essentially be, in all likelihood, 2 years after he last played for the Jets? Based on how he's played so far this year, the answer is obviously no. That's why I think it's unlikely Rodgers is back. The math doesn't make any sense. But if he looks like he did against the Patriots in the home opener, when he's moving around, when he looked healthy, when he looked like the old Rodgers, then okay, I'm more open to it. But I got to see that, and that's why I think it's unlikely. But all these people speculating that they know. You don't know. You don't know anything. Woody Johnson doesn't know. He's operating by the seat of his pants, which is not a good thing. I'm just telling you, no one actually knows. So I laugh when I see all these people talking with definitive statements when these people are getting info from people who all have agendas. Whether you're pro-Jets or anti-Jets, some of these sources are coming from the Jets themselves. Some of them are coming from people who used to work for the team that Woody fired. Let's connect the dots here, people. The other story, because there's just nonstop stories here, which is why I'm doing an impromptu show here on the Jets bye week, even though I'm doing 4 hours of radio today on ESPN New York, is that in the same story I referenced from Ian Rappaport of NFL Media, he says Aaron Rodgers reportedly resisted medical scans out of fear the Jets will force him off the field. Now, on one hand, I respect Aaron Rodgers' toughness for wanting to play. On the other hand, this is where, if you're the Jets, you have to step in and say, hey, buddy, we love you, but you got to get these medical scans. We got to know how serious you're actually injured. And this goes back to what I've been saying. Why is Tyrod Taylor here if he couldn't step in for a banged-up Aaron Rodgers? And I respect Aaron wanting to gut it out. I'm not trying to rip him here. But he's clearly not the same guy. He's not even close to the same guy. Why is Tyrod Taylor here if you couldn't go to Aaron Rodgers? And I go back to this. Remember that Patriot game? Then they had the short week against Houston? I suggested, hey, maybe you sit Rodgers. You could beat the Patriots with Tyrod. And then you have a short week coming up. Does it make sense for our 41-year-old quarterback soon to play 2 games in 4 days? That was just one example. Also, after he got the crap kicked out of him against Denver, maybe they should have started Tyrod against the Vikings. Because in that game, made it worse when he got twisted up into a pretzel. I guess we'll never know. But this is where, when those say, Aaron Rodgers has too much power, this is an example of that. He could resist medical scans. If they're winning, it's fine. You appreciate the warrior mentality, but they're not winning. And you got to wonder if his play has been a detriment to the team if he's just banged up. But it's too little too late. Now I hope he got healthy and he looks good down the stretch. That's all I could hope for as a Jet fan at this point. But, I mean, who knows? I don't know what to expect here. How do we know? There's going to be another story that comes out. We're just scratching the surface here. You have a lot of angry people in that organization that are getting fired. So there's going to be more anti-Woody stuff that's going to come out. And I'm not sitting here telling you Woody Johnson's a good owner because the record speaks for itself. But I will tell you this. Be careful where you're getting your sources from, where you're getting your reports from. Because at the end of the day, these people have an axe to grind against the organization that fired them. A lot of people are out of a job because Joe Douglas is 30-64. Not Woody Johnson. Let's not forget, Joe Douglas had full autonomy for a long time before Woody, quote-unquote, meddled. 30-64, 0 winning seasons, 0 playoff appearances, picked in the top 11 and 4 of the 5 NFL drafts he had. So the coach is gone, the staff's gone. They're going to start talking. The GM is gone. He's going to start talking. He already has. I love the report how, Joe Douglas was fishing down at the Jersey Shore after he got fired. He was relieved. Okay. It's easy to blame Woody, and he's not good until proven otherwise. We understand that. But are we really going to sit here and exonerate a general manager who had 5.5 years to turn this crap around and couldn't? Please. Let's not forget that. These sources are coming from people who are pissed off they got fired and are out of work. Don't lose sight of that. But I love the old-fashioned source off. And it's funny. So Jordan Schultz tweeted this, right? And in the Badlands Discord, Zach Rosenblatt does a show for Badlands. And Zach obviously co-authored the Athletic story with Diana Rossini. And Zach Rosenblatt wrote today, Jordan Schultz is a Nepo baby who pays for scoops. He has no idea what he's talking about. Rodgers wouldn't even leak that. He hates Woody. Maybe Schultz texts with Brick since they were both born into wealth and can relate. Brick being Brick Johnson, the 18-year-old son of Woody, who apparently has major influence on what the Jets do. Does anyone actually believe that? But anyway, that's Zach Rosenblatt's take on Jordan Schultz, who is the son of Howard Schultz, who founded Starbucks. So Zach obviously thinks Jordan Schultz is full of it, but Jordan Schultz thinks the Athletic is full of it. That's why I say you have an old-fashioned source off here. It's basically just gossip nonsense. Like, it's literally like these reporters are just covering the Jets like it's a tabloid. Just gossip here, gossip there. Bunch of nonsense. And look, at the end of the day, the season's been cooked for a while here, so I'm just going to sit back and laugh at this and hope that when they actually do eventually hire a general manager and then eventually hire a head coach, they get it right, because none of this matters. We know the season's a bleep show. You can see that. I don't need all these articles telling me how big of a bleep show it is. But I do find it funny that the response from The Athletic, at least one of the writers, is Jordan Schultz is a Nepo baby who pays for scoops. I don't know if that's true or not. That's just what The Athletic reporter's telling you here. But Zach Rosenblatt did say Rodgers wouldn't even leak that he hates Woody. So Schultz is saying that, or Rosenblatt's saying Rodgers hates Woody. And Schultz is saying that's not true. The relationship's overblown. They got dinner together a few weeks ago. There's been ongoing communication between them. And both agree the season has been deeply disappointing with Aaron playing through injuries and the team underperforming. I mean, whose side do you believe here? I think somewhere in the middle lies the truth. But I'll continue to say what I've been saying for a while now. The idea that a decision has already been made on Aaron Rodgers' future, I'm not buying it. Because if he looked good here over the last 6, that wouldn't change things. And that feels unlikely, let's be honest. But that wouldn't change things? Come on. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Subscribe to the show. We're 18 memberships away from a new channel emoji. The Sexy Rexy emoji is ready to roll. We just need your help in order to make it possible. Comments, questions, your super chats cut the line. Once again, to recap here, 3 new news items, I guess, reports about the Jets. The first being Schultz, as we just talked about, pushing back on the Athletic piece that Aaron Rodgers and Woody Johnson don't like each other. Their relationship is strained. Schultz saying it's overblown. Ian Rappaport coming out today saying Rodgers' future not decided yet. If he's back next year, he's got to play, quote, far better if he's going to come back in 25. And then the final one, Rodgers apparently resisting medical scans out of fear the Jets will bench him, force him off the field because he's too hurt to play, which I respect Aaron's toughness, but this is where if you're a serious organization, you push back on the quarterback and say, you have to get tested, man. We got to find out how injured you are. Because why is Tyrod here if you couldn't go to him if Aaron Rodgers is that banged up? On one hand, if you're a Jet fan, you should respect the fact that this guy truly wants to be out there. He doesn't have to be. On the other hand, it's not helping the team if he's that injured. But at this point, it's too late. I just hope the bye week helped him get healthy, and we go from there. I mean, that's all you really can do. Your comments, questions, super chats, they cut the line. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Nate with a super chat. He says, thanks for a Sunday show, Jake. Schultz greater than Rossini. Look, I'm not going to take sides here. I'm just going to tell you where the sources are coming from, right? That's how I look at it as someone in this business. When you see a story that comes out and it cites sources, try and figure out why one side would want that information out there. And if you read The Athletic, it's clearly coming from disgruntled ex-Jets in the front office or the coaching staff, or currently on the coaching staff, like Nate Hackett, who knows he's being fired at the end of the year anyway. That's where this happens. But Nate, I appreciate it. If you're enjoying a Sunday show, hit the like button. All right, we'll take a couple calls here. Games are about to start. Actually, the games did just start, and I'm on the radio at 4, so I got to cover Tommy DeVito. So I got to be following what's happening here. Hamburger, you're first up. What's up, Hamburger?
Hey, what's up, Jake? Happy Sunday, man.
Happy Sunday. I appreciate you still rocking the Jet gear despite the Jets season being a nightmare.
And I'm rocking sauce, man. So it is what it is, man. I love the Jets, and I'll always love the Jets.
Amen.
So, listen, we talk about the Aaron Rodgers maybe being injury and wanting to play. That's every player in the NFL. But that's the coaching's responsibility and the staff. Sure, he gets those tests. So the fact that he had pull over them is a little alarming. I would agree with that. But every player, even hurt, if they could get on the field, they want to get on the field. This is why I texted. I put out a thing earlier on X. You can't believe everybody and all the stories that are coming out. You got to be patient. As a Jet fan right now, we have to be patient. You can't listen to every single story that's in and out. We still haven't heard from Aaron on Tuesday. I can't wait to hear from him and what he's got to say. We really don't know what's going on behind the scenes. These guys, anything for a click on X and on Instagram, on everything else like that. The Jets are a hot story. They've been a hot topic since the signing of Aaron Rodgers. That's why we get so many, primetime games and this and that. It is what it is. We just got to sit back, relax, watch the rest of the year, see how Aaron plays. And then whenever we get a new general manager, he'll decide what's going on. Until then, we don't know anything. Woody's not making that decision yet. He's going to leave that up to his next general manager. And just one other thing I want to tap on. Everybody's asking for a clean sweep of this organization. But yet we're all wanting Rex and all these guys back that have already been in the organization that we failed before. So for me, I want nobody that's ever been a part of this organization back. That's just me personally. Not that it can't work, but for me, I basically dip it in alcohol, man. Everybody gone. Everybody from ticket salespeople to everybody gone. Brand new organization, all new people, no retreads, no nothing. Let that person decide what's going to go on with the player personnel that we have. So,
yeah,
that's just how I feel. That's how I'm going to stay on. I don't want or not want Aaron Rodgers back. Whatever that general manager decide is the best for this organization going forward, that's what I'm going to be on board with. I still haven't seen him play out for the rest of the year. So you guys enjoy your Sunday. I appreciate you letting me come on, and everybody enjoy whatever football that's not stress-free today for you. So
That's right.
all
Hamburger.
right, I'll be listening to your show on my way up to go out for dinner tonight. So
Thanks, Hamburger. I appreciate it, man. Look, the bottom line is this. 6 games is still a lot. So I'll continue to say it. The idea that a decision's already been made, I don't know about that. If you want to support the show and support my career as we continue to do the YouTube Jet content creator thing full time, join the Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. For less than a cup of coffee a month, you get all the perks you hear me talk about all the time, like Discord access, your name in the intro, bonus shows that are not on YouTube, and a whole lot more. Check it out. Patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. Let's see. Comments, questions, super chats. Mike D writes in, are we that scared to sit Rodgers if it's true? Well, yeah, I mean, clearly he's got a ton of influence if he could bypass getting medical scans. I mean, why is Tyrod here if you couldn't play him for a game or two while Aaron heals up? I don't know. Doesn't make much sense to me. But what do I know? Angry Native New Yorkers. Next. Hello, Angry Native. You're on mute, sir. Unmute your mic and you could let it rip.
Hey, Jake. Been trying to get through all week. This Rossini stuff. I'm sorry, but I'm going to call bullcrap on a lot of what she says. If you remember how she became such an insider, it's because she got caught doing a Lewinsky on one of the commies' personnel men.
I don't know if that's true. That's not fair. I know that's like floated out there. I don't know if that's ever been like confirmed.
I'm just wondering how she became Adam Schefter, because she was doing that at the local TV station when I was living there in the DMV. She got let go for that because the wife got involved with it. Then also she goes to the Athletic and she's Adam Schefter or she's Woj. I'm just telling you, she's got a lot of anti-Jets stuff. Obviously, she's trying to feed into people who want to see the Jets be a mockery. But to me, Diana Rossini, her reports and her sources, I mean, come on. I do think we've got to take that into, some kind of a little bit of consideration. Is she getting these reports on her knees?
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I will say this: I wouldn't believe 100% what she's writing because I'm not saying she's making it up, but she's hearing from people who have an axe to grind against Woody Johnson. She's talking to people that have just been fired by Woody Johnson or are about to be fired by Woody Johnson. And then you have this from Jordan Schultz, who's basically pushing back on it. So, I don't know. As far as her getting her reports on her knees, I'm not going to comment on that. It's not just her, though, that wrote the story. Zach Rosenblatt's name is also attached to it. And Zach Rosenblatt's response to it in the Badlands Discord today was basically calling Jordan Schultz a Nepo baby who pays for scoops, and he has no idea what he's talking about. Maybe Schultz texts with Brick Johnson since they both were born in the wealth and can relate. So you have an old-fashioned source-off between two sides that don't like one another. Super chat from Tyrone. Tyrone, I appreciate it, man. Your $20 right here makes this show worth it. Bang! Bang! This is what I only look at your show only while all the others are just passing the bad. We never know in life what the future, the Jets, run the table, make the playoffs. Anything can happen. Go Jets. Look, the Jets run the table and go 9-8. That would be something, huh? Not going to happen, but I hope it happens. Why not? Then I'll talk myself into, hey, if we just get better coaching next year, we're going to be a good team. I don't know. I'm not banking on it. But 6 games is still a lot of time. A lot of time. Apparently, I forgot to pin the call-in link, so I'm going to throw it in there again. Bucks just scored a touchdown here. I'm trying to watch the games here. We got Red Zone on. We got the Giants on. Chrissy writes in, people saying Rodgers runs everything is them coping that their owner keeps messing up the team and can't face the fact that they're stuck with it long after Rodgers leaves. Well, I do laugh at the morons out there. Rodgers ruined the Jets. Have you been following what this team was before Rodgers? He couldn't ultimately fix the Jets due to some things completely out of his control, like the injury last year, father time, etc. But we had some people today on Twitter I saw pining for the return of Zach Wilson. That's how damn bad some people in this fan base are. I mean, people who just have lost their minds. Here's the other thing, too. If they do move on from Aaron Rodgers, are we going to act like the Jets don't have all their draft picks and don't have salary cap space? Now, they don't have a quarterback, but unfortunately, with the way Rodgers has played this year, he's probably been anywhere from the 20th to the 27th best quarterback in the league, right? He's not the worst. He's not the best, but he's not what we thought he'd be. That said, this version of Rodgers would still be good enough if the defense held up its end of the bargain, if the kicking game held up its end of the bargain. But the coaching has been so bad, both those units have regressed. I love he ruined the Jets. I mean, if Aaron Rodgers goes somewhere else, I almost guarantee you he's going to play well on another team. I don't know what team that is. I don't know if he'd have to start as a backup somewhere, then play if he's truly dead set on playing. But I am just fully expecting Aaron to go somewhere else if he's not a Jet next year and probably look good, because that's what happens. Watch. But I just laugh at he ruined the Jets. Okay. I mean, this team was bad before Aaron Rodgers, and they could definitely be bad post Aaron Rodgers. Dan writes in, sign up for the Patreon, pay for the year, and get a discount. I re-up to support the Asman. What did you losers do this week? Just kidding. Love you guys. There you go, Dan. I appreciate it. Ralphie says, with good coaching and a competent kicker, we'd be 500 or better right now. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Matthew says, what's the best team in the NFC? Do you agree with most that it's the Lions? I do think the Lions are the best team in the NFL, not just the NFC. Open phone lines for anyone who wants to call in here. Doing a quick impromptu show. There was just too much news to not get something on the channel today. Didn't plan on going live. Planned on enjoying a Sunday without a YouTube show for once. But it wasn't meant to be. Let's see. Rich says 6-0, baby. Tom, I will be delirious if that happens. I mean, you know how many games 6 games is? Like, 6 games is a lot of games, man. A lot of games. A lot of things can change as the clown music continues. More of your calls right now. Let's say hello to Jay. Hello, Jay.
Hey, buddy. How you doing? All right.
Jay, what's going on, man? Good to see you.
Yeah, cool. Good to see you too. It's been a little while. Just thought I'd call in amidst the mayhem. I just, for my tuppence worth, I'm sure there's many people know a lot more than I do, but I think the major red flags for me at the moment, aside from obviously the team's ongoing poor play, I tend to look more towards the owner. Like you say, you look at the Jets over years and years and years, different coaching, different players, different GMs. And, you don't want to put the blame certainly all at one person's door. But I do sort of, when I look at it, I think, well, the roster, there's quite a bit to like about the roster, for 2025 or what have you. I know people, again, want to hang it all on Rodgers. I mean, I don't know. Is it impossible? Even an aging Aaron Rodgers? I mean, he's, 6 months or whatever into a comeback from a year out through injury. And obviously, I'm not saying he's going to be getting better necessarily, but if he stays mostly fit, I know he's meant to be a bit banged up, but if he doesn't get a serious injury, is he going to be worse next year? I don't know. Obviously, there are decisions to be made by GMs and what have you about whether or not we keep him. And I'm not really hard committed either way. But I do think, I mean, I'm a more glass half full kind of guy anyway. I think generally, even though it's been really depressing this year being the Jet fan, one of the worst ones in many ways. I just feel like, yeah, I mean, my concern, I look more at the ownership, and that's the bit that worries me. I think, well, unless I don't know how much of the rumours about how hands-on Woody is day to day, I don't know how much of that's true. You probably know better than me. But I always feel like in any sport, if you've got owner that's sticking their hands in the day-to-day business, that's usually a recipe for disaster. But hopefully I'm wrong. And
well, it's not
I don't know what
good,
you're
Jay.
saying.
It's not good, Jay. But like, here's the thing. I mean, this is a organization that basically allowed its GM and coach to get whatever they wanted, and it didn't work. And now we're going to blame the owner. Like, I think it's pretty lazy, you know? Joe Douglas is 30-64. He had 5 drafts, 5 free agent periods. The most amount of games they've won in his tenure has been 7. It's easy to blame the owner. I think multiple things can be true, but that's the thing people don't ever take into account. I could sit here and say Woody Johnson's a bad owner until proven otherwise. And I also could sit here and say Joe Douglas was a bad GM. Robert Saleh was a bad head coach. Aaron Rodgers has not played well. A bunch of things could be true at once. We always look for one thing to blame. There's not one thing to blame. It's multiple things. But I'm telling you, as we move forward, the only way this gets better is if you hire competent people and they're actually good at their job. But I just laugh because Joe Douglas had more than enough time to turn this around. And it's only when he's about to get fired or then gets fired do these stories start coming out about all these things that Woody did. I mean, Joe, it was your decision to totally dismantle this defensive line. It was your decision last year to not get a backup quarterback when you could have made the playoffs, despite losing Rodgers 4 plays in. It was your decision to not get a kicker and allow Greg Zuerlein to sink this season. You hired Robert Saleh, not Woody. He wasn't here. You hired Robert Saleh, Joe Douglas. So I laugh at that athletic story because you know it's coming from the Douglas side or the Saleh side or both. And then this tweet's probably coming from the ownership side, from Jordan Schultz. I mean, it's an old-fashioned source-off, baby. And the Jets are always written about like it's a gossip column on page 6. It's unreal.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
I mean, this season's just been a nightmare. Nightmare. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Ladies and gentlemen, we get up close with David, who's next. Hello, David.
Hi, Jake.
What's up,
How
David?
are you?
How's the eye infection?
I'm doing good. Interesting show already. My eye's getting better all the time. So we're going to be ready to roll. But as far as Woody goes, hey, Douglas and how many years, much patience. How many years did he gave them full reign? And I, like you said, now that everybody's fired, but all along, I never really heard much of him, meddling. I know he was over in England there for a little bit, or London. I'm not sure, but anyway. So as far as Aaron Rodgers goes, always a fan, even when he was in Green Bay. Like his personality was different and all that kind of stuff. But since he got over to the Jets, he's tried everything he can do, and he can't help he got hurt, and the whole bit. But I think with him, and it depends on the manager and the coach that comes in. The Jets can do best what's for the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. whatever makes sense, whatever type of plan they have. And you could, like, if Rodgers wants to play next year, and the coach and manager just aren't prepared to make them,
David, I appreciate it. Unfortunately, your internet connection was acting up. But thanks for the eyewitness perspective. Look, I'll say this. Looking back on it, if this season continues down the path it's obviously been, the worst thing that happened to this entire window that we thought the Jets had was Rodgers going down last year 4 plays in. Because I think it critically impacted his athletic ability coming off the injury. He's not the same guy. And 2, it gave this staff a mulligan. When, if he plays last year and they underachieve, they could have had a different head coach and coaching staff for this year. Maybe Mike Vrabel's the Jet coach right now. Maybe Woody showed some balls and got Jim Harbaugh here. I mean, that's what we will never know. Just how damaging losing Rodgers 4 plays in. David, good call. Let's say hello to Ray, who's next. Hey, Ray.
Hey, how you doing, Jake?
What's up, Ray?
Hey, I just had 2 comments real short. One, remember when Aaron Rodgers first came and they said they were all in, and Aaron Rodgers himself stated that if they didn't produce, he gone. So, I mean, that's Aaron himself knowing that there's a possibility that he would be gone if they didn't produce. And he got hurt, but then he ran it back another year. So I don't think that it's too far-fetched that he's gone next year, because he already knew that. The second thing I wanted to mention was I'm all in with Sexy Rexy, Jake. I'm all in. Reason why. He had 7 years. He hasn't been around, and people think that's a knock. He's actually been an analyst now to be able to see the game from a good perspective of how the game evolved. So sometimes a person takes a step back and say, you know what, I'll do better if I was a coach. I would change this about maybe getting a better offensive coordinator that meets the new way. He doesn't have to be the offensive-minded person, which we know he's not. So that's just my 2 takes. I think Rex should make a second time around. I think it'd be great, especially if he knows what he needs to make adjustments on. Everybody makes mistakes. Even his mistakes brought us to AFC Championship games back in the day. That's it. Nothing long-winded, sir.
So, Ray, you want Sexy Rexy back, baby. All right.
Oh, yeah. You know what time it is. You tried to throw him away, but this man's coming back. Sometimes he's fat or thin. That waistband makes him slim. He's got the fix you need. They call him Sexy Rexy.
Fuck Gruden, he's no Jet. I'm here to crack some skulls. I'll turn these boys to men. This team is stacked with pros. Hire me, you won't break your purse. I'm here to break the curse. They call me Sexy Rexy. Fuck all you naysayers.
Ooh, sexy. Ooh, he's sexy Rexy. Sexy. Ooh, he's sexy Rexy. Sexy. Ooh, he's sexy Rexy. Sexy. Ooh, he's sexy Rexy.
Yeah, baby. Shout out to Gator for his luscious pipes on that one. Can we get 18 more channel members? I'm trying to get a new emoji added. Damn it. I guess this emoji's not hitting well with the Asmaniacs. No one wants to become a member to get this one added. You can do a lot worse than Rex. I'm just saying. He's not my first choice. He's probably not my top 4. But I'm giving him an interview, and I want to hear who his staff would be. Those are my thoughts on Rex. All right, open phone lines if anyone wants in. I didn't plan on doing a long show, so I have no problem ending it. But there was just too much Jet news to not do something. Quick reminder, if you want the show on podcast form, you can get it on either Apple or Spotify by just searching The Jake Asman Show. Underdog picks. Get them in today, baby. Download the app. If you have nothing to watch, no Jets. If you want some action on all the other games, if you're a new customer, you can deposit and get up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Promo code Asman with Underdog. Use it. Let's go, baby. Hamburger says, I would take a first-time coach before Rex. I would not. Because I do think Rex learned from his first stint. If he hires a good staff, I think he would change the culture overnight. I do think there's something to that. First-time coach with a defensive background, no thank you. If you tell me it's Ben Johnson, obviously I would take him. Here's my order of coaches I want for the Jets. Number 1, Mike Vrabel. Number 2, Brian Flores. And then Kevin Stefanski's in there. If he's fired, he moves to number 1. Todd Monken is on my list. And then Rex is probably like 5. But Vrabel, Flores, they're my 1 and 2. I value experience here. Hamburger says, my eye is on next season. So is David's. Right, David? Absolutely. All right. I can't help myself. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. There's 250 of you in here right now. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We need all the support we can get. David says, sign Rex to a 3-year deal. Keep him for 2. Fire him before his bluster grows old. Advances OC to head coach. Well, who's his OC, though? You got to tell me. Gator writes in, can we hire coaches that Peter Castro can pronounce? We might only be stuck with Rex Ryan then, Gator, if that's the case. Bob says Rex only as the DC. I don't think Rex would ever take a DC job with the Jets. Dan says, Jake, how many eyes are on you right now? At least 2. Thank you, David. Larry says Flores, terrible idea. Why? 3 years in Miami, he had 2 winning seasons. They overachieved from a win-loss perspective. He got railroaded and fired when they tried to hire Sean Payton and pair him up with Tom Brady behind his back. The guy then left Miami, went to Pittsburgh for a year, learned under Tomlin, and now has been one of the best defensive coordinators in the league the last 2 years. You tell me Brian Flores with a good OC wouldn't be a good idea? That's the biggest question you'd have for Flores, right? He had 3 OCs in 3 years in Miami. Who's his offensive coordinator with the Jets? NYJ, I'm glad Woody fired these guys early. Yeah, me too. Well, not Salah 5 games in, but firing Douglas. I mean, it's the right move. Jet Life says, I got a funny feeling they're bringing Rexy back. They might. That hasn't been decided yet, though. Mike D's nuts in the house. So is Gary boycotting? You know, it's a great question. I have not heard from Gary in the last couple shows.
Plants are trying to kill me, so I think I'll eat a stick of butter.
Well, the good news is Gary's still writing a lot in the Discord, so he's not boycotting the Discord. He just might be boycotting the show. David says, Jake, I don't know who Rex would be bringing in. Shoddy was before his time with the pre-snap movement, though. He also inherited Schottenheimer, too, if you remember. Schottenheimer was the Jets OC under Mangini as well. John wants Flores as head coach, McCown as the OC, and Sam Darnold as the quarterback. Darnold's not going to be the quarterback next year, folks. It's not going to happen. Dan says, you haven't heard from Gary? Ask David to keep a close eye on that. Will do. Anthony, are we bringing back Rodgers? I don't think anyone knows just yet. Mike D's Nuts writes in Yulbrick. Classic Peter Castroism. All right. Last chance to get in here. Any super chats? They'll cut the line. Channel memberships. We'll shout them out. Tom Ace writes in, David has an eye for talent.
I feel like I'm becoming a star on your show, Jake.
Thank you, David. I think you are as well. Boomtown says, Jake, I've said it before and I'll say it again. You need to start charging rent for those that sit in your green room all day. Well, that was typically Gary, but he's no longer here. David Aaron writes in, David is shooting up the caller seed list. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I'll say this. I think we're going to be hearing a lot from David come March. All right, as Maniac Madness, I think David is going on a run. Ladies and gentlemen, Board Fat, just making the show worthwhile for everybody. Bang! Bang! 5 spot of channel memberships, baby.
Yeah, here we come, baby. Here we come. Here come the Jets, baby.
If you hear your name called, you better thank Board Fat because he just gifted you a membership. Share Bear, L.A., Ryan Tkach, Vincent C., and Darius Richards. You are a channel member. I'm going to gift one myself because I want to pay it forward for the people. We needed, I think, 18 memberships before the show to get the sexy Rexy emoji. Now we only need 12. I'm going to gift one, so then we only need 11. So stand by. Because it's coming. Let's see. Let's get a membership gift here before we wrap. Last chance to get in. Everyone wants to talk about the 3 different Jet Rodgers related stories out today. Because it just never ends. Here we go. One membership has been gifted by yours truly. It went to listener Bob DiMucci. Bob, congratulations, buddy.
Oh, nice.
You have yourself a channel membership. We need 11 memberships for the sexy Rexy emoji. Maybe we'll get there. Ladies and gentlemen, is there anything better than 1 David, 2 Davids, but maybe 3 Davids?
Hi, Jake. My internet's not doing well. Hey. Can you hear me? Anyway, real quick, if they hire Rex, that'd be great. But I'm hearing a lot. If we get a general manager and coach from the same organization, which would be good. How do you feel about that?
You think David's a fan of the band Third Eye Blind? Dan says, David, sing I Will Survive. Kevin says, David more confused than our offense. Boomtown, Triple David will be unstoppable in March. I agree. Good luck. Bucks driving right now, 4th and goal. Giants get a stop. That couldn't have been a live ball that Baker just picked up, was it really? No way. Look at us settle for a field goal here. What is this, 22 yards? Yeah. 10-0 Bucks. Boomtown says, David kind of turning into the third wheel of the show. Tom Ace writes in, can David say, now batting for the Yankees, number 2, Derek Jeter, number 2. David, take it away.
Yes, thank you. Now batting for the New York Yankees, number 2, Derek Jeter. Jeter.
I mean, you can't make it up. A legend has been born during this show. Let's see. Anything else we have to address here? Bill M. Nailed it. Peter, that was exactly like the old stadium. I know. I felt like I was listening to Bob Shepard there. That was incredible. It really was. Thank you to Board Fadigan for his memberships. No one wants in on the show today, huh? All right. That's fine. Maybe some of you are saving your phone calls for the radio today. Dan says, ask him to say we have nothing to fear but fear itself. David, take it away.
My fellow Americans, we have nothing to fear but fear itself.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Boomtown says, as maniacs, less than a week left of the month. Get your calls in. It's true. It's true. The list this month is going to be very competitive for November. James says, dude, enough with commercials. I like how James thinks I have any control over the YouTube commercials. Guess what, James? You don't like it? Pay for YouTube Premium. Then you don't ever have to deal with commercials. But you blaming me for the commercials, sir, this is a Wendy's. All right, I have no control over the commercials. Hamburger says, he is the eye of the tiger. Board Fat, luckiest man alive. Good one. Yeah, David, I'm going to need you to say, today I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. Take it away.
I hope I can do with dignity. Yankees fans, today I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Phenomenal. I don't know. We're talking about a sleeping giant here in March. I can see it now. Jet fan for life. I agree with you more than not, and actually found myself stealing/repeating some of your insights. Guilty as charged. Thanks. I appreciate it. Jet fan for life. I'm just still laughing that we have an old-fashioned source-off involving the Jets. Like this is high school. High school drama with the way this team gets covered. Schultz pushing back on the Athletic. Zach Rosenblatt writing in the Badlands Discord where he does content for them, calling Jordan Schultz a Nepo baby. Look at this. This was in the Badlands Discord today. Someone tweeted it out today, so I saw it. Jordan Schultz is a Nepo baby who pays for scoops. He has no idea what he's talking about. That is what we're talking about right now, folks. That's how the Jets are being covered. Literal high school drama. On a bye week. For those who don't know, Jordan Schultz is the son of Howard Schultz, who I think founded Starbucks. Tabe says, my favorite is always the source familiar with what he's thinking. Yeah, I love that too. As if anyone knows what Woody is thinking. See, that's how you know it's bullshit, Tom, because Woody also said this year in regards to his thinking.
You know, thinking is overrated.
So how would anyone know what this man is thinking if he's telling you thinking is overrated?
You know, thinking is overrated.
So no one knows shit. Let's call it for what it is. You don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows.
You know, thinking is overrated.
The only person who knows is the man with the eye of the tiger, David Taddeo.
Don't give me too much credit, Jake.
David, you're one of a kind, man. Love David. David's made this show. Coach James writes in, this is the biggest problem. We stay in drama. We need to focus on solutions and creating a winning culture. Yeah, you got to hire the right people for that. Unfortunately, you can't have a winning culture when you hire a bad GM and a bad coach. They have more than enough time to figure it out. They failed. Now the next group will come in and we'll see what they could do. The Giants go for it on 4th and 11? Or no, that was the third down play. Okay. John FL is gifted a membership. John, thank you for your service. Bang! Alfredo Salas is the recipient of the membership. We've added 7 this show. We need 18 to get the sexy Rex emoji. I'll stay on a little while longer. I plan on only doing like a 20-minute show, and then next thing I know, David's eyes are keeping me on for almost an hour here. Incredible. Rich says, thanks for making the show fun, David. David's been great. Tom A says, Chipotle commercial and the Giants game got me hungry. PC writes in, winning is overrated. It is. Pretty funny. A source close to Woody's thinking. You mean the same guy who said thinking is overrated?
You know, thinking is overrated.
Yeah, I'll play along. I'll play along. All right, last chance to get in here. Call-in line is pinned for anyone who wants in on the conversation. Another reminder, 4 p.m. today, I'm on ESPN New York, 4 to 8. Mike DeVito is going to join me at 5:30. We will talk about Sexy Rexy potentially being the Jet coach. DeVito was on Twitter saying, bring Rex back. He played for him, obviously. I'm not necessarily anti-Rex. I just have some questions, like who his staff would be. What GM's going to be working with him. I do think he's going to get an interview, though. I mean, that's the thing. I do think he's going to get an interview. Boomtown writes in, have a crock pot full of Parmesan, garlic, chicken, and pasta cooking away for dinner tonight. Man, I'll tell you what. Don't tell that to Gary.
Chicken with pasta is worse than peanut butter with sandwich.
Dan says, Jake, ask David if he's ready for his close-up. He's ready, all right. He was born ready. Alan, did the Texans forget what time today's game was? It's almost like they're not that good like most of the AFC. They're 7-4 and record only. To me, there's really only 2 truly, really, really good teams in the NFL. Buffalo and Kansas City. Everyone else on a week-to-week basis could look bad. The Ravens have looked like the best team in the league, and they've also had some brutal losses this year to the Raiders, to the Browns, etc. Pittsburgh, rolling, lose to Cleveland the other night. Like it happens. That's what's so frustrating about this Jets season. There are a couple games here or there, a couple plays in these games from still being in the mix for the wild card. Rich writes in, hit that like. Amen. How many likes we up to, Rich? 122? 124? We could do a little better than that, no? Anyway. What a show it's been, huh? 4 p.m. today, you get more of me. Radio version. Download the ESPN New York app or put on 880 AM on the dial or on your transistor radio, however you want to listen. Mike DeVito at 5:30. Plan on hitting on the Knicks. Plan on hitting on the Juan Soto sweepstakes. Certainly we'll talk about this Giant game on right now. Bucks, Giants, DeVito at quarterback. Giants down 10-0. I actually thought they would cover today. I picked the Giants getting 6. Not looking too good, but we'll cover all that and more this afternoon on the show. My name is Jake Asman. This has been the Jake Asman Show. Thank you all for your support. Ladies and gentlemen, sing along.
Oh, yeah. You know what time it is. You tried to throw him away, but this man's coming back. Sometimes he's fat or thin. That waistband makes him slim. He's got the fix you need. They call him sexy. Rexy.
Fuck Gruden, he's no jet. I'm here to crack some skulls. I'll turn these boys to men. This team is stacked with pros. Hire me, you won't break your purse. I'm here to break the curse. They call me sexy. Rexy. Fuck all you naysayers.